Waiting for this to queue up. Hopefully we'll get online tonight. Here we go. There we go. I didn't announce this tonight, everybody, but let me start recording on my end. There we go. I'll say hello to everyone first. Yeah, I didn't announce this tonight, everybody, but I am doing a live stream, but this is also going to be uploaded to our channel, so you can view this afterwards. This is our midweek POTUS report. This is Wednesday, July 29th, folks, 2020. It's our GoldFish Report number 536, and it is week 182 POTUS report. It's our midweek POTUS report, but it's the 182nd week the president has been in office. And I have to say, the country is in trouble. I hope people do realize that there is a Marxist insurgency happening in our country. This is not just merely, you have to get past the propaganda. Hi, Cheyenne, how you doing? Yeah, we have to get past the propaganda of what they're putting out, and they're putting out disinformation to try to, try to mislead people, try to make, and sadly it's working. Hi, Veronica, how are you, dear? So I'm going to, there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to first say that we are in support of our candidate that we interviewed earlier this week. And let's see. Let's see if that's the right one. No, I spelled it wrong. Hold on a second. If you are in Florida in the 24th district, I'm sorry, that was the wrong thing to say. The 21st district, Palm Beach County. If you're in the 21st district in Florida, I want to introduce you to a candidate who I interviewed here on the GoldFish Report earlier this week, a couple days ago, actually. And her name is Reba, and she is an amazing Reba Sherrill, and she is really a great candidate. I think she's a wonderful person, and she's extremely well qualified. Here she is with President Trump in Palm Beach. She answered every question I gave her. She answered it thoroughly, and she answered it competently. She is very much in favor of getting volunteers to help in the Palm Beach County area to put signs up and things like that. Please go to her website here and send her an email if you'd like to contribute and help her out. She is a Republican, and the president, obviously she's here with the president. They know each other. So, it would be nice if he could give her, aside from this, give her an endorsement. But there's several candidates running, Republican candidates running against each other in that district. And I do feel she's the most qualified, quite honestly. She does have a good understanding of the issues, not just in Palm Beach County, but nationally. And I gave her every issue. I really did. I gave her every policy issue that would be brought up to her. And I do welcome the other candidates on the GoldFish Report, even to do a debate if you'd like. It's unprecedented. It's never been done before, but let's do a debate, and I'll moderate it because I think that she really has something to offer people, and she really has a lot of conviction. So I wanted to screen share that right away with everybody. So if you are in that, if you are in that 21st district in Florida, a primary election is coming up. Now, just so you know, somebody's up to some tricks here, because the state I live in had their primary. We had our primary, what was it, earlier this month? Well, I couldn't vote because it was all mail-in ballot, and I received mine ripped in half. So half of it was missing, so it was not even possible for me to vote. There's 2 residents at my household that received ballots, and they were both ripped in half because, of course, we voted Republican. We voted for Trump. So, this is why this mail-in ballot is a fraught, with with corruption, with error. It's not reliable. Who knows? Who knows what the counts are going to be? But we really, really hope that Reba will get elected, because I think she would be an incredible voice for Americans in the House of Representatives, and it would just be a lot of fun. And if you feel like you're in that area and you'd like to volunteer and help out on her campaign, please go to her website, Reba for Congress. It's in the description section of this video, rebaforcongress.com, and you can go there and email her and let her know what you'd like to do to volunteer. But take a look at that interview I did 2 days ago and watch her and listen to her responses. Listen to how she addresses the issues, because that's what it's all about. She's not a politician, and neither was Donald Trump. She's Republican. She supports the president, and I gave her really every question that you would have wanted me to ask her, and I think it's worth listening to, because she will represent the House of She would, if she elected, she will get into the House of Representatives, and that would be, who knows what committee she may be on, and that would represent everybody in the country. So I do, hope and wish that she does win that election down there. So there's a lot to report on, folks, with the president. Yeah, there's so much going on. Hi, Sherry. How are you, dear? Yeah. I decided I was going to do this report because Saturday night, when I do the weekend edition of the POTUS Report, I'm going to devote my second hour to Reba, so that we can discuss the issues and introduce her to a wider audience. We're going to be simulcasting on Ascension Radio, so we're going to expand that platform for her. So if you are in that area, in the 21st district, congressional district in Florida, Palm Beach County area, your election's coming up soon, and if you want to listen in on Saturday, listen in and hear what she has to say. And she could use some volunteers, so give her a call. Have I seen Dr. Sarhan's post on the president need urgent meeting to stop guardian courts? Yeah, for murdering our parents. Yeah, I mean, this was an issue that she brought up, the guardianship issue. Big issue. She's got a lot of issues that are near and dear to her heart, which are near and dear to all of our heart as well, our hearts. So that's why I think you should listen into the interview we did. It was really last minute, folks, but I'll tell you, she was on the spot. She needed no notes. She knows where she stands on these issues, and I give her my full support, although I'm not in her state, but I certainly will do whatever I can to help her achieve that goal, because I feel that she was very competent and capable, and she has a great personality, and she, I think is really the best candidate for the job. So let's move along. We have a lot to report on. So much going on. The president today was talking about. He was talking about energy dependence and a lot of things, as the president always does, which is why I kind of have to break these reports up into two, because it's a lot. I'd like to try to make the report shorter. You know how hard that is for me to do, but we give it a try. So we're going to talk about, let's see, what else do we have here? Okay. I'm just going to reiterate something here that we talked about in the weekend edition report, because it's on the same date. So more press releases were released for this day. So I wanted to make sure I screen share it with you. This is a readout from the First Lady's a virtual roundtable with the Foster Youth Intern Group. Actually, this is different than the FEMA one. So this is more commitment from the First Lady regarding helping to foster, leadership within the youth, especially foster care youth. And so she's a mom, and she cares about children, and she cares about the issues that they confront, and also the disaster preparedness, which is when I looked at this, I realized it wasn't the same one. She was working with FEMA regarding, youth preparedness, disaster preparedness, and getting the youth involved so that they know what to do when there's an emergency, and they can help put kits together and things like that. I think that she's doing a great job, and I'm so glad she's our first lady right now. And here it is. So she's talking about, she participated in a virtual roundtable with the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute, CCAI, Foster Youth Intern Group. Mrs. Trump was joined by 12 foster youth interns, Health and Human Services Assistant Secretary Lynn Johnson, and other administration officials for a briefing on the policy solutions and report the interns have been working on during their summer internship program. So this was to raise awareness to the federal policymakers about the needs and views of children in the foster care system. And my goodness, it's about time, isn't it? The FYI program, which is Foster Youth Intern, spends time in a congressional office researching policy issues affecting children in foster care. The interns then create a policy report that is presented to members of Congress and released to child welfare advocates across the United States. The First Lady opened the virtual roundtable, thanking everyone for their participation. And she said, let us know how the executive branch can better support foster children and families, and that taking care of America's children is a bipartisan effort, and we must never stop fighting for those who need us the most. Very good. So there's a little bit more here. There's participants. You can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com. Important issue, folks. Very important to take care of and listen to the voice of children who are in foster care and how we can improve that experience. This is what the First Lady's talking about. So that's wonderful. We also have President Trump is leading a once-in-a-generation effort to ensure Americans have access to a COVID-19 vaccine. Well, you and I both know that there's a lot of controversy about vaccines, and we shall see. We shall see what this is going to lead to, right? So here we have developing effective vaccines. President Trump is harnessing the full power of the public and private sectors to deliver a safe and effective vaccine as soon as possible. And of course, he was at a facility today that manufactures the vaccinations, and we will talk about that a little bit later. The president is using all available means to ensure safe vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics are developed, manufactured, and distributed in unprecedented time and scale in response to COVID-19. Earlier this year, President Trump launched Operation Warp Speed, a groundbreaking partnership between the federal government, scientific community, and private sector to develop and deliver vaccines in record time. I'm not sure if that's such a good thing, but okay. Operation Warp Speed's goal is to produce and deliver 300 million doses of safe and effective vaccines within the initial doses available by January 2021. The administration has made large investments in multiple vaccine candidates to provide financial infrastructure for mass manufacturing, in parallel with late-stage clinical trials. Operation Warp Speed is directing colossal industrial mobilization to ensure the rapid delivery of an eventual safe vaccine. Well, I mean, if it's a safe vaccine, then that's not, that might be useful. But folks, we have also the video of the doctors that were at they went to Washington, D.C. to talk about how there's a cure for COVID-19. We don't need vaccinations if we have a cure. If hydroxychloroquine is a cure with the zinc and the azithromycin, why do we need a vaccination? It just seems like a lot of wasteful spending. But honestly, he did say here that this has to do with where is it? It's not just vaccines. It has to do with other therapeutics. I just read it, so I'm not quite sure where it went, but yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. Seeing tremendous progress, the president's strategy for safely expediting vaccine development is already achieving incredible results. There has been promising early data from clinical trials, and manufacturing is ramping up as candidates go through late-stage trials. Operation Warp Speed has invested in more than 5 vaccines and teamed up with multiple pharmaceutical companies to safely produce as many effective vaccines as possible. A number of vaccine candidates have shown promising early clinical results and are either in starting phase 3 clinical trials, including AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Pfizer. Several vaccine candidates are using the National Institute of Health Clinical Trial Network to help enroll individuals into the clinical trials. Oh boy. Okay. Uh, Unleashing American ingenuity. President Trump has unleashed the power of American innovation in order to fight the invisible enemy. The Trump administration is using the whole of our nation's scientific genius to help combat COVID-19. One second, I think I was too loud. Food and Drug Administration has authorized more than 185 tests under emergency authorities, including more than 150 molecular tests and 30 antibody tests. The FDA launched its Coronavirus Treatment Acceleration Program to facilitate new treatments for COVID-19 patients as quickly as possible. A number of promising therapies for COVID-19, like remdesivir, have been identified and are already in use. Wait. Okay. So it just seems to be contradictory to what these doctors are saying, that there's already a cure. So why are we going through all of this? I'm not quite sure. The president is obviously taking the advice of Fauci, Tony the Rat Fauci. Why? I don't know. I guess, he's an implant. He's been there for a long time. And I don't know. I think a lot of people have questions about Fauci, and rightfully so. Okay, so also President Trump announces intent to nominate and appoint the following individuals to key administration posts. We have Colonel Douglas McGregor, United States Army, retired, of Pennsylvania, to be the ambassador to Germany. Can look at his background there. Oh, that's interesting. He comes from the United States Army. Project Paperclip, anybody? Okay, here we go. Mark Christie of Virginia to be a member of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. You can come check out his background here. Allison Clements of Ohio to be the member of Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. All of their background is here on the blog. I'm not going to read it. Colonel Craig Dewring, United States Air Force, retired, of Virginia, to be Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. Guess he didn't want to retire. Okay, so come take a look at the blog here for the backgrounds of these individuals. John Harrison of California to be member of chairperson of the Arctic Research Commission. Want to check that out sometime, right? And Michael Newton of Tennessee to be a member of the Arctic Research Commission. Where's all this stuff made public? We want to know what's going on in the Arctic, don't we? Okay. The president had some comments that he made before departing Marine One. He says the stock market is doing well, the economy is doing well, and he thinks we're going to have some tremendous numbers over the next few months. A lot of things are happening, according to the president. He just had a meeting on vaccines and therapeutics. See, it's not just vaccines, folks. It's therapeutics, too. So we're also talking about, of course, he's not going into detail about that. I have been seeing people making requests, and I was one of them, to make hydroxychloroquine available over the counter and use it prophylactically as a preventive, as a prevention, as a, to build up an immunity. It's an immunotherapy in that regard, as Dr. Judy Mikovits has stated. Okay, so let's continue. We had a lot of our wonderful doctors and researchers with him there, and the meetings went very well. So now they're heading to North Carolina to look at that as well. Let's see what the press pool is asking the president. Is there anything worthy of repeating here? Okay. Yeah, he couldn't hear that. He's talking about lowering drug prices, which we reported on last week. There were 4 executive orders specifically on lowering drug prices, especially for life-saving medicines, especially insulin and EpiPens, this epinephrine that is in the EpiPens for anaphylactic reactions. Those are life-saving drugs right there. So the president says also that DACA decision allowed him to do things that some people thought the president didn't have the right to do, but he was given that right under DACA. Drug prices will be coming down very substantially. And they're fighting back too. You can tell that the pharma industry is not happy about it because they've been, trying to push the vaccinations and push the narrative that hydroxychloroquine is not effective. If you notice that, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but if you notice that Don Jr., he was banned from Twitter because he he tweeted a video of these doctors talking in Washington, D.C. About the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine and that nobody needs to die and nobody needs to wear a mask. Children can go back to school. The businesses can reopen if everybody takes it prophylactically. So it needs to be made available over the counter. So why isn't it? So you can see that this is the drug cartel, big pharma cartel, is making it impossible, for these doctors to practice as they see fit, as their license allows them to. So let's continue. We're going to get into that in another minute because I am going to screen share a little bit of what this doctor said. So we're talking here, West Wing reads, if you climb on top of and beat an innocent stranger's car, you're a violent criminal who deserves prison. Yeah, this has been too much of this. The violence in Portland and other major U.S. cities is slowly percolating across entire cityscapes. And unless these criminals are treated as such, there is zero incentive for this to end, according to the Washington Examiner. Nip these escalations in the bud, lest more places become Seattle, where law enforcement is so restrained they're warning property and business owners that they can no longer help them. Whoa. That is like crazy. Let's see if there's a clip here we can no. I'm sorry. It's not going to be a clip we can share at this time. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going here. Sorry. Okay, many media outlets have steadfastly described the violent riots that have gripped cities across the country in recent months as mostly peaceful protests. What's left out of this absurd description is the arson, the assault, vandalism, and wanton destruction that the people can view through social media with their own eyes. Molly Hemingway writes in The Federalist. That's funny. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking for the window, the Zoom window, but it's not showing. That's what I said was not funny. I mean, was funny. Okay, President Trump will tour a North Carolina plant today that is working quickly toward a coronavirus vaccine. Trump will discuss the collaboration between his administration and the private sector to rapidly develop a vaccine and ensure accelerated manufacturing and distribution once ready, according to WRAL News. American workers and businesses have a shared interest in developing high-quality skills for the workplace, and that this doesn't necessarily require a 4-year degree. Instead, there are a broad range of courses, certifications, and apprenticeships that give workers the skills they need for growing fields like healthcare, cybersecurity, and the skills trades. According to Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia, right, according to The Advocate. And here we have the First Lady, who has announced plans to restore and enhance the White House Rose Garden. That's lovely. Let's see what she's planning on doing. This summer, the restoration of the historic garden is a much anticipated project meant to improve one of the most iconic locations on the White House grounds. The final design plan is the result of a collaboration by 2 premier landscape architecture firms, which she names here. The plan will provide a renewal of the design first implemented by Rachel Lambert Bunny, is her nickname, Mellon, during the Kennedy administration, which has been the guiding blueprint for the Rose Garden since that installation in 1962. Decades of use and necessary changes made to support the modern presidency have taken a toll on the garden and made it more difficult to appreciate the elegant symmetry of the Mellon plan. So that's nice. You can go take a look. There's more details here about the restoration of the rose garden, you can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com. I am trying to keep this report shorter. We're almost at a half an hour already, and we still have more to go. So, of course, the president has approved emergency declarations. There are some that I'm not going to be mentioning tonight, but they will be tweeted, they will be on the Facebook page, and they will be posted on the blog. So you can go to either three of those locations and you can check out, you can take a look at the rest of them. But this one is for Texas, and this has to do with Hurricane Hannah. It's an emergency declaration. Okay, so I'm going to just stop real quick and check in with my live chat and see how everybody's doing. Everyone behaving? Hi, everybody. Yeah, look, I think the president, when it comes to the vaccines, I think I think vaccinations, even Dr. Judy Mikovits said she's not against vaccinations. She's against healthy vaccinations. She's not against vaccinations that contain diseases or what should I say, enzymes that cause disease, or mixtures of things that are unknown that may cause other problems. So let's put it into perspective. Okay, so I think we need to do that by stocking Kodak now. Yeah. So let me just continue, because before I close up tonight, I do want to screen share some of those things. So let me go on to the next day. Just want to make sure I did cover everything on here. Let's see, did we get everything? Yes, we did. 25. Let me just see something. Yeah, photos of the week. If you want to see the White House photos of the week, you can definitely go to Yep. Okay, I'm just double checking, folks. I like to make sure. I'm going to screen share this real quick with you. This is the photos of the week for last week that were posted on the blog. You can come here and take a look at this. This was the presidential memorandum on excluding illegal aliens from the apportionment base following the 2020 census. As you know, the census is what determines the districting for representation and many other things, including emergency services, hospitals, and other things, and even police and things of that nature. So if you're here illegally, you don't have any rights, so you shouldn't be counted. And here's the president during a COVID, resuming his own briefing on coronavirus at the White House. And so I did screen share this. I'm not going to screen share it again, but I just wanted to let you know that it was there, and you can take a look at it. And we will continue with the remainder of our week's report here. Sorry. I was not feeling well today. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this report, but here we are. Okay, so let's see what we have. I'm sorry, I'm screen sharing the wrong screen. Thought I had this up here. Here we are. Now we're ready. Okay, this was the president talking about restoring energy dominance. He was in Midland, Texas. Double Eagle Energy is where he was. And he was talking about the achievements in terms of how the United States is now the #1 energy superpower anywhere in the world. So that's really a great achievement. And he says, we're also here to send a clear message to the zealots, radicals, and extremists trying to shut down your industry and to make, talking to the crowd at that manufacturing place, to make America subservient to foreign producers. That won't happen to this nation again. Okay, exactly. Energy independence. Exactly, folks. He said he wanted to provide an update on our battle with the China virus. The state With regard to Texas, the percent of patients testing positive has stabilized and the number of new cases has begun to substantially decline. And Texans must remain vigilant. You can come and take a look at the transcript here. This is probably very long. Yeah, I'm not going to read through this as I usually don't. Yeah, there's a lot of other comments here about the air too. In fact, never ends, folks, does it? But if you want to look at the whole transcript, please come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and check it out. The president, this is more on the unleashed American producers and restored our energy dominance. With the tremendous progress we have made over the past 3 years, America is now energy independent, as we just reported. Under President Trump's leadership, the United States has become the world's #1 producer of oil and maintained our position as the number one producer of natural gas. American energy exports reached an all-time high last year, marking the first time in 67 years that our annual gross energy exports exceeded our gross energy exports. Crude oil production hit a new record highs both last year and the year before, leaping past the previous record set in 1970. Crude oil production was up 38% last year compared to 2016. The Trump administration has increased exports of U.S. liquefied natural gas, LNG, by nearly fivefold and issued 20 long-term authorizations for LNG exports. The president is taking further action today to promote our energy independence by signing 4 critical permits for vital pipeline and railway infrastructure on our nation's borders. President Trump has proven that energy production and environmental stewardships are not mutually exclusive, as America continues to be a world leader in clean air, including in energy-related CO2 emissions. Our nation's air quality has improved by 77% over the last 50 years, including 7% under President Trump. Well, that's good to know, and air does matter. Without it, we can't be here. Right? So here we have President Trump's deregulation campaign has eliminated unnecessarily burdensome rules that stifle domestic energy production. The deregulatory actions taken by the Trump administration are simultaneously benefiting the American consumer and the energy sector by lowering cost, speeding up projects, and removing unnecessary bureaucratic and regulatory hurdles. President Trump has signed multiple executive orders to speed up energy infrastructure development and support American energy jobs. The administration took action to right-size the federal government's environmental review process, the first such update in over 40 years. President Trump has ended the Obama administration's war on coal and is replacing the expensive job-killing Clean Power Plan with the Affordable Clean Energy Rule, the ACE, as it's known as ACE. All told, the president's actions unleashing the shale revolution are saving Americans over $200 billion annually through lower cost prices. Yes, I believe that is fracking. This is disproportionately benefiting poor households who typically spend a greater percentage of their income on gasoline, natural gas, and electricity bills. But he's correct about that. The president's leadership and decisive action during the pandemic have enabled the energy industry to contribute to the nation's economic recovery. President Trump's leadership throughout the coronavirus pandemic has given energy producers the support they need to keep afloat. A recent analysis showed that the Paycheck Protection Program for companies struggling with the coronavirus pandemic saved more than half of oil field jobs in Texas. The Small Business Administration has made more than $1 billion in forgivable loans to Texas oil field producers to keep their employees on the payroll. While energy producers were hit hard by the sudden drop in demand due in part to the coronavirus, consumer demand in oil and natural gas production are rapidly returning. With the help of the president's policies, American energy companies will be at the forefront of our nation's rapid economic recovery. And then we have also a video clip here for the 1600 Daily talking about restoring American energy dominance. Let's see if that's a clip we can screen share for everybody. No, because it's the entire press conference. So I'm going to try to, oops. Usually I like to I do have some clips, but I'm just going to get through this one, and then I'll share some clips that I do have from today. Okay, so we know that today the president addressed Americans from the Permian Basin in Texas, which stretches nearly 86,000 square miles into New Mexico. Both these states have helped America lead the shale oil and natural gas revolution that is changing the world. Upon taking office, President Trump ended the war waged on American energy by the previous administration. Rather than expand the reach of bureaucrats, President Trump rolled back overregulation, ending stifling rules, and unleashed energy resources. The results of American energy dominance couldn't be clearer. America is leading the world in oil and natural gas production. U.S. energy exports reached an all-time high last year, marking the first time in 67 years that our annual gross energy exports exceeded imports. Oil production has soared, surpassing records that stood for nearly half a century. This energy dominance, as we just reported, means more affordable utilities and gas prices for families, more jobs for American workers, and less reliance on unstable foreign energy sources. Shale-driven improvements have reduced the global price of oil by 10%, according to the Council on Economic Advisors. These prices decrease alone save American consumers $203 billion annually, an average of $2,500 for a family of four. These savings equal nearly 7% of income for the poorest fifth of U.S. households. Most important, President Trump's agenda of U.S. energy dominance is good for both the economy and for our environment. Key pollutant concentrations are down since 2017, with lead down 28% and sulfur dioxide down 10%. Additionally, the electricity sector has reduced per unit carbon dioxide emissions by 15% to 15% relative to 2017 government forecasts when President Trump took office. President Trump wants even more of this American innovation to drive results for consumers, workers, and our environment. The left, meanwhile, wants more government mandates to create jobs for lawyers, lobbyists, and politically connected industries. America energy dominance may be bad news for the bureaucrats, but it's great news for your family, your community, and our country. So there's more here on the value of U.S. energy dominance. If you want to come to the blog, you can come and click on this picture. And here's the photo of the day. This is President Trump today in Midland, Texas. The president sent 8 nominations to the Senate today. We have Gregory Altry of California to be Chief Financial Officer of NASA. Interesting. Mark Christie, as we reported before, to be the member of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Allison Clements of Ohio to be the member of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission as well. Craig Dewring of Virginia to be Deputy Undersecretary of Defense. Douglas McGregor to be the ambassador to Germany. Their backgrounds are all listed on the post I shared earlier in this report. It's on the goldfishreport.blogspot.com. We also have Theodore Rokita of Indiana. It's a little late for me. Okay. To be the director of Amtrak Board of Directors. Interesting. We have Theodore Rokita, again of Indiana, to be director of the Amtrak Board of Directors as well, and Eric Ueland of Oregon to be Undersecretary of State. So there you have that. We also have a statement from the press secretary regarding continued Treasury and state sanctions on the Assad regime. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's just read the first paragraph. Today, at President Donald J. Trump's direction, the Department of Treasury and the Department of State announced designations on 4 individuals and 10 entities actively supporting the murderous and barbaric Assad regime in Syria. Today's designations employ a range of sanctions authorities to target the Assad regime, including the Caesar Act provision of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2020, which authorizes sanctions on individuals providing support to the Syrian government. The targets of today's sanctions include a corrupt Syrian businessman complicit in the support to the regime, and 9 entities responsible for enriching the Syrian regime through construction of luxury real estate. The United States also designated 3 Assad regime figures, including a senior regime general responsible for perpetuating the conflict in Syria, as well as the regime-controlled 1st Division of the Syrian Arab Army for its obstruction of a ceasefire in Syria. So you can go here and read a little bit more about that if you would like. But basically, that's the announcement there. The administration remains committed to a lasting political solution in Syria. The Assad regime is and its patrons must recognize that the political resolution is the only viable mechanism to bring a peaceful end to the Syrian conflict. There's more there about it, but you can go to the blog and read more details. Here we have remarks by the president, again, before departing on Marine One. You can come here. Secretary Mnuchin was there as well. And as you know, there's some changes happening this end of this month now. So the $600 a week unemployment will run out. I don't think it's going to be renewed. Also, the eviction hold has expired as well. So people may be getting evicted from their homes. And folks, this is something to be very concerned about. Now, the president is trying to work this out, but Congress is giving him a hard time in terms of putting the details of this package together. So looks like it's going to be taking a little bit more time. This is what he's talking about here. We want to work on the evictions so that people don't get evicted. We'll work on the payments for the people, and the rest of it, we're so far apart, we don't care. We really don't care. We want to take care of the people. The Democrats aren't taking care of the people. The payments aren't enough. The payments aren't enough. You understand that? This is the president's speech, okay? They're not making the payments. They're not making them high enough. The Democrats are not taking care of the people. Nancy Pelosi takes care of herself, but she doesn't take care of anyone else. So that's what the president had to say about that today. He is trying to work on this. The Democrats have to get to the table and they have to do something reasonable. It's a big mess, folks. It's a big mess. They want bailout money for the Democrats that ran cities terribly. Their cities are going down the tubes. If you look at Portland, if you look at what's going on in Seattle, Democrat-run cities, whether you like it or not, they're terribly run, and they're always overtaxed. So they've taxed them to look. People are migrating out of the cities now, folks, in droves, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute. So please come here and take a look at this transcript. I'm not going to read it all. You know that I won't. So you can come to the blog because we're trying to keep this, short as possible. Bringing drug manufacturing back to America, another Trump triumph. This week, the Trump administration signed off on a partnership with Kodak to begin producing critical pharmaceutical ingredients right here in the United States. Okay, America is dangerously dependent on foreign supply chains for all 3 stages of drug production. Starting materials used to manufacture active ingredients, the active ingredients themselves, and the finished product in the form of tablets, pills, and injectables. Peter Navarro writes, the Kodak project is a big win for the Defense Production Act, a big win for New York and the nation. A huge step forward toward U.S. pharmaceutical independence. California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared that over 80% of the state's school-age population won't return to the classroom this fall, despite calls from the CDC, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and other healthcare experts for schools to reopen for in-person learning wherever possible, according to the City Journal. President Trump will head to Midland, Texas on Wednesday, which he did today, to tour an oil rig owned by Double Eagle Energy and deliver remarks on how the U.S. is achieving energy dominance, which we reported on. And also, on a nightly basis, hordes of rioters attack federal law enforcement officers who are guarding Portland's Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse. On Monday night, one of the rioters threw a bomb at the courthouse. The rampant violence isn't a small part of the story. It is the story. Just not one mainstream media outlet wants to talk about it. I'm also seeing reports that these fireworks and these bombs are filled with nails. I mean, they're talking, this is like really, ISIS evil stuff here. It just looks like they have a new name, but the same tactics, right? The Marxist tactics. So while we're doing this, I'm going to also screen share a couple of clips from the president's visit today. So we're going to do that right now.
You did, Cody. He was wealthier 4 months ago, but he'll be up there very soon. He's doing good. Come on, sit down. Texas with the extraordinary men and women of Double Eagle Energy, and what a nice welcome.
Okay, there's like really no sound on this. I'm not sure why. They didn't have that plugged in very good. All right, I have another one. Actually, let's go here because the president was talking about it. Here we go.
By opposing these punishing restrictions and beyond restrictions, the Washington radical left, crazy Democrats would also send countless American jobs, factories, industries to China and to other foreign polluting states. They want us to take care of our air, but China doesn't take care of its air. In all fairness, India doesn't take care of its air. Russia doesn't take care of its air, but we do. Not on my watch, it's not going to happen, I can tell you that. Because as long as I'm president, we will always put America first. It's very simple, very simple, very simple. By opposing through the paycheck producing.
Sorry, folks. I had two of them going at the same time.
Through the Paycheck Protection Program, we provided over $1 billion in emergency aid to keep Texas energy workers on the payroll. We kept them all on the payroll. We opened up 30 million barrels of space and strategic petroleum reserve, allowing American companies to store surplus oil to be sold at a later time. And we filled up our 75 million barrels in the strategic reserve. And Dan, you've done a fantastic job on that. Thank you very much. Through the paycheck.
We've got so much from the president today. Let's hear what else he has to say here.
As we have seen in cities and towns across our nation, it's not just Texas oil that the radical Democrats want to destroy. They want to destroy our country. These people are sick. They are sick. And you better get used to hearing it because they have some real problems. They don't love our country. In any way, shape, or form, they don't love our country. There's no respect for the American way of life. There is no way of life ever in history that's been like the great American way of life. There's no respect, but there is by you, and there is by 95% of our people. Our people love our country, and our people love our anthem, and they love our flag. Remember that. As we have seen.
All right, let's listen to what else the president has to say here.
Today, I'm taking another bold action to support energy jobs in Texas. In a few moments, I will sign 4 critical permits granting approval to vital pipeline and railway infrastructure on our nation's border. That's a big deal. This will include 2 permits allowing the export of Texas crude to Mexico, a giant victory for the workers of the state that you've been after for many years, right? You've been after that one for many years. I said, what do I know about it? If you want to do it, it's okay with me, and we're doing it. So that's been a long time in the making. Today I'm taking...
Okay, and we also had... Okay, so I'm also going to screen share something that was deleted earlier. It's on Twitter. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm scratching my head. Silly. Let me see where it went. All right, it must be. Well, I'm going to screen share it. It's not the president's. It's not from the president, but it's the video that was deleted. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Care physician in Houston, Texas. You know, I actually went to medical school in West Africa, Nigeria, where I took care of malaria patients, treated them with hydroxychloroquine and stuff like that. So I'm actually used to these medications. I'm here because I have personally treated over 350 patients with COVID. Patients that have diabetes, patients that have high blood pressure, patients that have asthma, old people. I think my oldest patient is 92, 87-year-olds. And the result has been the same. I put them on hydroxychloroquine, I put them on zinc, I put them on Zitromax, and they are all well. For the past few months, I've taken care of over 350 patients. We've not lost one. Not a diabetic, not a somebody with high blood pressure, not somebody with asthma, not an old person. We've not lost one patient. And on top of that, I've put myself, my staff, and many doctors that I know on hydroxychloroquine for prevention, because by the very mechanism of action, it works early and as a prophylaxis. We see patients, 10 to 15 COVID patients every day. We give them breathing treatments. We only wear surgical masks. None of us has gotten sick. It works. So right now, I came here to Washington, D.C. to say, America, nobody needs to die. The study that made me start using hydroxychloroquine was a study that they did under the NIH in 2005 that say it works. Recently, I was doing some research about a patient that had hiccups, and I found out that they even did a recent study in the NIH, which is our National Institute, that is the National Institute of Health. They actually had a study, I'm going to look it up. Type hiccups and COVID, you will see it. They treated a patient that had hiccups with hydroxychloroquine, and it proved that COVID is a symptom of hiccups. It's a symptom of COVID. So if the NIH knows that treating the patient with hydroxychloroquine proves that hiccup is a symptom of COVID, then they definitely know that hydroxychloroquine works. I'm upset. Why I'm upset is that I see people that cannot breathe. I see parents walk in, I see diabetics sit in my office knowing that this is a death sentence and they can't breathe. And I hug them and I tell them it's going to be okay, you're going to live. And we treat them and they live. None has died. So if some fake science, some person sponsored by all these fake pharma companies comes and say, oh, we've done studies and they found out that it doesn't work, I can tell you categorically it's fake science. I want to know who is sponsoring that study. I want to know who is behind it. Because there is no way I can treat 350 patients and counting and nobody is dead and they all did better. And then you're going to tell me that you treated 20 people, 40 people and it didn't work. I'm a true testimony. So I came here to Washington, D.C. to tell America, nobody needs to get sick. This virus has a cure. It is called hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and Zitromax. I know people want to talk about mask. Hello? You don't need mask. There is a cure. I know they don't want to open schools. No, you don't need people to be locked down. There is prevention and there is a cure. And let me tell you something. All you fake doctors out there that tell me, oh yeah, I want a double-blinded studies. I just tell you, quit sounding like a computer, double-blinded. I don't know whether your chips are malfunctioning, but I'm a real doctor. I have radiologists, we have plastic surgeons, we have neurosurgeons like Sanjay Gupta saying, oh yeah, it doesn't work and it causes heart disease. Let me ask you, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, hear me. Have you ever seen a COVID patient? Have you ever treated anybody with hydroxychloroquine and they died from heart disease? When you do, come and talk to me. Because I sit down in my clinic every day and I see these patients walk in every day, scared to death. I see people driving 2-3 hours to my clinic because some ER doctor is scared of the Texas board or they are scared of something and they will not prescribe medication to these people. I tell all of you doctors that are sitting down and watching Americans die, you're like the good Nazis, the good Germans that watch Jews get killed and you did not speak up. If they come after me, they threaten me. They've threatened to, I've gotten all kinds of threats. Oh, they're going to report me to the boards. I say, you know what, I don't care. I'm not going to let Americans die. And if this is the mountain, if this is the hill where I get nailed on, I will get nailed on it. I don't care. You can report me to the boards, you can kill me, you can do whatever, but I'm not going to let Americans die. And today I'm here to say that America, there is a cure for COVID. All this foolishness does not need to happen. There is a cure for COVID. There is a cure for COVID. It's called hydroxychloroquine, it's called zinc, it's called Zithromax. And it is time for the grassroots to wake up and say, no, we're not going to take this any longer. We're not going to die. Because let me tell you something. When somebody is dead, they are dead. They're not coming back tomorrow to have an argument. They're not coming back tomorrow to discuss the double-blinded study and the data. All of you doctors that are waiting for data, if 6 months down the line you actually found out that this data shows that this medication works, how about your patients that have died? You want a double-blinded study where people are dying? It's unethical. So,
okay, I'm going to stop there. She really gets she's amazing, this woman. You got to give her so much credit for her bravery and what she's doing. And this was a video that was on Twitter, and Donald Trump Jr., Don Jr. had retweeted it, and his account was deleted because of it. So he did a video talking about it. And then, of course, this was also on Facebook. It was also deleted from Facebook as well. So, this is, the reality of the world that we're living in today, guys. Did you see this? Yeah. Did everybody see this? Yeah. So I'm glad. That's it for tonight. Actually, you know what? I think I had, no. Just bear with me for a minute, because I'm pretty sure I had something else to share with everybody tonight that I posted. A lot of stuff going on, folks. Just a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. And this doctor says take the COVID doctor challenges CNN and Fauci to take a urine test. She says, prove you are not taking hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, they're furious at this. Exactly. So what else with the president? There's so much going on, and whatever we don't report on today, we will catch and report on Saturday. But I wanted to screen share. Let's see. Uncle, you have to look at the president's brother's account. Uncle Rob Trump. Oh no. Okay. So I have reason to believe that this is an authentic account, even though it's not verified. I was told by another press reporter the name of the original account, and it looks like that one may have been deleted. But this is supposedly the president's brother. Oh, and look at that. He follows me. Isn't that nice? Here we go. He's a firecracker, this guy. You should see the things he says. Look, he says Joe Biden has a clone. I'm not kidding. Oh no, I can't repeat some of this stuff. He says, don't wear a mask, he says. Oh my God, he's so outrageous. To put into perspective just how fake Barack Obama's birth certificate is, it's faker than climate change. Look what he's saying, vaccines cause autism. Oh my God. Look at this. 47,000 followers already. Yeah. Oh, he's saying Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead. And folks, I've heard reports about that. Nothing that I could obviously confirm. But, how many terminal illnesses can an 80-year-old have and survive? I mean, come on. It's kind of a joke. And, everybody just kind of, nobody says anything about it. Of course, you're not allowed to with the mainstream media, right? Here we have President Trump is going to be reelected. We know that. I should be putting hearts next to them. John Brennan is going to federal prison. So we believe that. We certainly hope that's going to be the case. And he says, where's Ruth? Of course. He's pretty outrageous, this guy, I have to say. I mean, he was so quiet all this time, and now he's really come out because of the niece that has published this book to disparage not only President Trump, but the whole family. Yeah, he says, Civil War 2.0 is already happening. It certainly is. That's correct. George Floyd's killing was a Democrat setup intended to inflame the racial divide ahead of the election. That's believable. Oh, he says George Floyd is alive. Oh, my goodness, right? Michelle Obama is eventually going to come out as transgender. There's a reason this issue became so prominent in mainstream under his husband's administration. Boy, he's really, yeah, he's really, Portland is a war zone. He's correct. Anyone need some hydroxychloroquine? Yeah. Let's just say that, yeah. Yes. Everybody wants it, right? So you all watched me do that. I don't know. I can't verify this is him, but it sounds like him, though. Sounds like him on the verified or on the account that I was given inside. I was very, early on. I had known who he was, so, but they're not going to give him a verified, not with this kind of stuff. I don't think so. So he says here Barack Obama is going to prison. Again, I cannot verify that this is the president's brother on this account here, but it does sound an awful lot like him. Yeah. A lot of things. I mean, he's very vocal about a lot of things. So come and check it out. So I just wanted to share that with everybody to see if you knew about the president's brother being on Twitter. And, I think they did close down one of his accounts. It's interesting stuff. How is everybody doing? All right, it's been an hour, so I'm going to close this up. I really wanted to do this under an hour, but it didn't happen because I wanted to screen share Uncle Bob, Uncle Rob, rather. So there's more that I'm going to report on Saturday. And just know the first hour on Saturday will be our weekend edition POTUS report. And then the second hour, we will have Reba Sherrill join us again, as she is the Republican candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives in the 21st District of Florida. So if you're from Florida, you have friends in Florida, tell them to tune in. They can watch our live stream or go to Ascension Radio and listen in there as well. And we'll have those. I'll be putting a promotional image together that I'll circulate, and you all can see that. So everybody stay cool out there. It's been so hot. My air conditioning broke. It's been terrible. Not happy about that. So the condenser broke. That means it needs to be replaced. It needs a new one. Bummer. Okay, so everybody have a great night. Thanks for being in our live chat. Thanks for viewing, and we'll be back. Probably tomorrow, I think. I think we're going to be doing Food for the Soul with Dr. Werner. If not, we will be back on Saturday, as I explained. So you have a great rest of your week, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for viewing.